Welcome back, everyone. Today, we are going to be taking a deep dive into something super interesting,
Mm-hmm.
the connection between arts and well-being.
Okay.
And you guys have given us some really great material to work with today.
Yeah.
We've got excerpts from Arts and Well-being.
Okay.
We've got this really compelling study from the American Journal of Public Health by Stuckey and Nobel.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got some really cool articles from the New York Times and the Atlantic.
Right.
Um, I don't know about you, but I'm really curious to see what we discover here today.
Yeah, it's a really rich topic, and I think you'll find it pretty illuminating.
Yeah.
A lot of people just kind of intuitively sense that art makes them feel better,
Right.
but the research goes way deeper than that.
Yeah.
It's not just like a surface feeling. There's real science behind it.
Okay, cool. So let's dive into that science then.
Okay.
One of the things that really jumped out at me from the materials was this whole concept of art therapy. Can you explain a little bit about how art is actually used in like a therapeutic setting
Sure.
and what kinds of benefits it offers?
Absolutely. So art therapy basically uses creative processes
Hmm.
like painting, drawing, sculpting, or even music
Oh, wow.
to help people kind of explore their emotions
Okay.
and work through different challenges.
Interesting.
And what's really fascinating is that the Stuckey and Nobel study
Yeah.
showed that this kind of nonverbal expression
Mhm.
can be especially helpful for people who have a really hard time articulating their feelings in words.
Oh, interesting.
Like if you think about somebody who's experienced trauma or has a lot of anxiety,
Right.
sometimes it's really difficult to put those feelings into language.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So art gives them a very tangible way to process
Oh,
those
okay.
emotions.
Wow. So it's almost like giving your feelings a physical form. So it's something you can actually see and interact with.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're externalizing those feelings.
Okay.
So you can start to understand them better, gain a sense of control over them,
Right.
and then ultimately kind of move towards healing and growth.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
And it seems like the benefits of art go even beyond mental health
Uh-huh.
because the arts and well-being piece mentioned that creative activities can even help people manage
Right.
physical conditions like cardiovascular disease.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I was pretty surprised by that.
I know it might seem a little surprising at first,
Yeah.
but there's more and more research coming out all the time that shows a really strong link between stress
Right.
and chronic illnesses.
Okay.
And that's really where art comes in.
Okay.
Engaging in creative activities has been shown to actually lower cortisol levels.
Interesting.
And cortisol is that hormone that's associated with stress.
Right. Right.
So by reducing stress, art can actually play a role in the healing process for a bunch of different physical conditions.
Wow. So it's not just about feeling good in the moment.
Right.
It can have like a tangible impact on your physical well-being over time.
Exactly.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And speaking of long-term effects,
Yeah.
I was totally fascinated by that New York Times article
Oh, yeah.
about museum visits and longevity.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that study?
Sure. Yeah. That study was really interesting. I think it really captured the public imagination because the
Yeah.
results were so compelling.
Yeah.
The researchers basically tracked a group of people over a long period of time.
Okay.
And what they found was that the folks who frequently visited museums, theaters, and operas
Right.
actually had a 14% lower risk of dying than those who didn't.
Wow. 14% reduction just from experiencing art.
It's pretty remarkable, right?
Yeah, I have to admit, I'm already planning my next museum trip.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
It's a really compelling statistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, it's important to point out that, correlation doesn't equal causation.
Right.
You always have to be careful with these kinds of studies,
Sure.
but it definitely raises some really interesting questions.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if there's something about like engaging with art
Hmm.
that almost promotes overall health and vitality.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
fascinating.
And that kind of connects back to something else that you sent over,
Ah.
the article from the Atlantic about Rosa Smith.
Yes. Her story was amazing.
Yeah.
And it really resonated with me because it shows how so many of us just instinctively turn to art
Yeah,
during difficult times.
absolutely.
Like she was saying how she used crafts as a way to cope with anxiety during the pandemic.
Right, right.
And I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It speaks to like this really deep-seated human need to create,
Hmm.
to express ourselves, and to kind of find comfort and solace through these creative outlets.
Yeah, it's like our minds and bodies just know that this kind of engagement is good for us.
Right. And when you think about how prevalent this seems to be,
Hmm.
it really makes you think that art is becoming this really dominant force Yeah. In how people are trying to improve their well-being, both mentally and physically.
Absolutely. It's not seen as just like a hobby or a pastime anymore.
Right.
It's being recognized as like this really powerful tool
Hmm.
for personal growth and healing,
Right.
and even for like societal well-being.
Yeah, totally. So as we wrap up this deep dive today,
Okay.
I think the big takeaway is that art is so much more than just aesthetics or entertainment.
Yeah.
It's a powerful force
Mm-hmm.
that can really enrich our lives on so many different levels.
I couldn't agree more. I
Yeah.
think the research is really compelling.
Yeah,
And, those personal stories like Rosa's really bring it home.
totally, totally. So the next time you're feeling stressed or just need a little boost,
Hmm.
remember the power of art.
Yes.
Whether it's creating something yourself, going to a concert, visiting a gallery, or just listening to your favorite music.
Right.
Make art a part of your life.
Good advice.
Your mind and body will thank you for it.
I think so.
And here's something for everyone to think about.
Okay.
If art has this really profound impact on individuals,
Yeah.
what could it do for our communities and our society as a whole
Right.
if we really embraced it on an even larger scale?
That's a great question.
Something to think
A
about.
lot to ponder there.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive today.
It was fun.
See you next time.
Bye.